Hi, I'm Helen, home economist, and I'm delighted to be here at Yealm Kitchens here in Newton Ferrers. And today I'm going to be showing the IQ 700 range and being showing the pulse steam and the use of the probe in the ovens. This recipe is another one of my favourites, and this is an orange crusted herb salmon. And it's very simple. We need some breadcrumbs. I've actually got some gluten-free breadcrumbs here today, because I know there's some people here that can't eat wheat, and so it works beautifully well, gluten-free as well as ordinary breadcrumbs. So I've got about 100 grams of breadcrumbs there. Then I've got this beautiful bunch of fresh herbs. It's a mixture of herbs of parsley, sage, some marjoram, thyme, chives, and we just need to just chop this up. So it's a big bunch, but it really is a beautiful way of getting the flavours into the topping. I'm very lucky, I can just pull these up from my garden, so they are beautifully fresh herbs. So what we need now is the rind of the orange. So I've got a nutty little device here where I can just scrape the zest off the orange. If you don't like oranges or you want to try it with lemon, you can. But I just think the orange gives it a more delicate flavour, and it doesn't sort of quite take over the flavour of the salmon. So I'm just going to empty the zest there into the breadcrumbs, and then we're just going to add some salt and pepper, and then we're going to add all of these herbs. So give that a mix around, and then we're just going to bind this together just with the juice of an orange. So it may take the whole orange or not a lot, or not all of it. It all depends on the juice of the orange. And then we're just going to bind this, and we just want enough juice just so that the breadcrumbs are covered. And if you're a flapjack maker, enough oats just when you know that they're just being covered by the syrup. So just enough juice, just to, you're not too soggy or claggy, just enough to get them sticking in together. And you can actually just see the breadcrumbs coat over. And then I'm just going to empty the contents over the fish. And this is just a side of salmon. It works well with trout if you fancy having something a little bit of a change. We've now assembled the orange crusted herb salmon. I'm going to be cooking this in the IQ 700 oven behind me with added steam, the pulse steam setting, and with the hot air grilling. But I've also, to make sure that it's cooked to perfection, I'm going to be using the probe. So the probe is a 3-prong probe, so you've got 3 little marks on the probe there, which sort of shows you, and so you get accurate reading of the fish. And I always like to use fish because they're called meat probes, and people think of purely putting probes in meat, but it's ideal, as I say, for fish, which often gets overcooked. So this is a perfect one because we can't actually see what the fish is being cooked like. So by having the probe put into the thickest part all the way into the centre there, and then this in a minute I'll put into the oven. So probes are superb for with meats, making sure all the roasts that you are cooking are perfect core temperature all the way through. Particularly if you're making like a beef en croûte where you can't see what's inside, you can put the probe in and make sure that beef is cooked to perfection how you want it, whether it be rare, medium or well done. So I'm going to be putting this beautiful salmon into the IQ 700 single oven. So we'll just switch this oven on, and we are going to be adding steam. So I will press the little envelope button there, and this comes up. I've already pre-filled the water. So the water cassette just goes in, I have to square on, just going in there, and then we can just lower this down and it's ready for use. So whenever we're using a program with water, be it pulse steam or full steam, we need to add the water cartridge. Also, if there are any programs that will some like reheat or dough proving, if you've forgotten to put the water in, it will come and tell you to put it in, so you just put it in before you start. Better put the fish in the oven. I'm going to pop that in there, and then I'm just going to connect the probe into the side. And I don't know if in this one, when I do that, it's come up the thermometer, and we now have another square in the actual setting. So I am wanting hot air grilling. I want it on 180. I'm going to just put the core temperature to 58. I like to do this because fish can be overcooked quite quickly. So with the residual heat, when you take the salmon out, it's coming up to serve, it does get up to the 62 degrees C. Then I'm going to add some steam, and we just want that at a medium steam there, and I can just press start. Now, because I'm on this program, this actually overrides any timing because the oven times will cook for as long as it needs to for that core temperature to reach the 58. But if you do want to know anything while during the cooking, you can press this information button, which will give you what the current core temperature of the food you're cooking. Continuing on with the pulse steam, I'm just using the compact version now of the IQ 700 full steam oven, but we're just using pulse steam, adding the steam settings. So we have got the hot air grilling with the salmon there and using the Pro, but obviously you can use the added steam for a number of other settings. And this is when it is lovely if you're doing a roast on your 4D hot air, you can add steam because it says we can add steam. And this is lovely because it tenderizes the meat, you have less shrinkage, you get a lovely crisp outside but it's still moist inside. And I always think this is really good, particularly if you like me, I can often find a joint that's been in the freezer a little bit too long. So by adding the steam helps tenderize this because it can be a little bit tough sometimes when they've been in the freezer a little bit too long. So we can add it with that top and bottom heat. So this again would lovely one if you're cooking a flan or something where we can just, a cake, we get a lovely crispy topping but keeping that cake beautifully moist inside. It disappears for this one and it comes back on again at circulated air grilling. It goes off with the grill and then keeping warm. So where you can add moisture if you come to keep something warm for a little bit longer than you perhaps anticipated, just to keeping that moist. So you can't go wrong with this because if you think, well, can I or can't I add steam? Your oven will tell you because it won't allow you to add steam unless the program is suitable for it. Coming near to the end of the cooking time, so I'm just going to press the I button and I can see the current temperature of the oven, but also I can see that the current core temperature is 57 degrees. So it's not going to be very long now before it gets to the top of the cooking. Right, the time is up, improve the cooking. There we go, beautiful. It's cooked to perfection. Obviously we need to take the probe out. This be warm, so do remember to use your oven gloves. And we want to slide this out here and then pop that on there. I like to take this straight away out and you just want to just turn it a little bit. I've got asbestos fingers there. And remove the thing, and then all this needs to be done is just washed under the tap. Don't put this in the dishwasher, and then I just like to spray it with a little bit of Detox afterwards.